Alright you guys, let's get started. For the Chevron board we only need two kind of woods. We need a light one and we need a dark one. Now I'm using mahogany for the dark one and beech for the light one. And the boards are 40 mil thick, 160 mil wide and 380 mil long. Now the boards can easily be 35 mil or 50 mil thick, it doesn't really matter. Whatever you've got lying around should be fine. Now I've already planed these down for the right thickness, so the next step now is to set up our circular saw for the very first cut. Now all the cuts that we're going to do are on an angle of 35 degrees. Now I've made the first cut on all of them with an angle of 35 degrees. And next step is to cut these strips that are 35 mil wide. So we'll take these onto the circular saw again. Remember I told you not to throw away the offcuts, and I had a little trick to show you. This will make the first glue up and the final glue up a lot easier. And let me show you how these offcuts would make the first glue up a lot easier. First, let's put these aside. This is basically how our first glue up should look like. But we can't put a clamp on these tilted ends. It doesn't really work. So we'll take the offcuts, flip this one around, put this one in here, and now we've got a perfectly 90-degree angle here to put on some clamps. First glue up is done and it turned out okay. I did run into a little issue as my board seems to move during the glue up, but I ran it through my thicknesser, and you can run it through your belt sander as well, just to make a clear and nice flat surface again. I did however make a small mistake before the first glue up, and as you can see, this board right here should have been a dark one. And the consequence for this is that I lose about 35 mil of the board in length. Well, enough about my mistakes. Now we're ready to do the cross cuts. The cross cuts will have a width around 38 to 40 mil, which is around 1.5 inch. I wouldn't go below 1.5 inch for a cutting board, for an end grain cutting board. Now, how annoyed am I that I didn't put a dark one at the end here? From a scale 1 to 10, I'd say that's a solid 10. Anyway, let's move on to the final glue up. Now, if my first glue up was perfect, I would have put these boards on and the pattern would line up perfectly. But remember, the boards kind of moved for me, and now I've got an edge that goes like this, so it's not really possible now. So I'll just have to line up the pattern by eyesight. Now I realize there's actually a lot of different patterns that you can do. Another one here. But we'll stick to this one. And yes, I'm still very annoyed about this. I'll just remove all this glue. I run my board through a planer, but before I can do that, I need to glue on this sacrifice piece, or else the Endgrain would split once it goes through the planer. So I need to glue this on before I can flatten it. Now I've cut it in length and now it's time to do the sanding. Okay, the sanding isn't really done that quick in real life, but it's really boring, so let's move on. We just got one more thing before the oil. Now I know it's an old feature, but how cool is this? That's pretty cool. And now for my favorite part, the oil. Now you don't have to watch all of this. I'll give it 3 or 4 coats until it can't take any more oil. You can actually see how the oil is coming through the cutting board. And finally, a bit of beeswax. Alright you guys, the cutting board is finished. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I really want to improve on the videos that I make for you guys, but I need your help. So if you have any suggestions on how I can improve the video quality for you guys, please leave them in the comments below. Now go easy on me, because I know there's a lot that needs to be improved. But your input will really help me on my YouTube journey and make better videos for you guys. So until next time, be safe and keep building.